Okay, this here is King Tommy from Croatia. There he is, King Tommy. And we just wanted to tell you a little bit more about, I was going to tell you it's cold today. I'm actually got like ski mitts. So, yes, and there's a lot of fall work that's yet to be done, yet to be young. We're looking at, people wanting to clean up their yards and, put away the summer pottery. And then all the leaves have got to be collected and they go in recycle bins, and then the city picks them up and compost them, and then you can buy from the city some composted leaf matter. Let's see, what else can I tell you about King Tommy in Croatia? We have not heard any Croatian news for a long time. And so King Tommy says, I can't really tell you too much about Croatia these days because, I was living in 925. What do we know about the history of the country of Croatia? They have immigrants, or emigrants, in other words, people who left Croatia. And there are some in Canada, because I know some people who are from Croatia. Ancestry-wise. What's the whole point? Let's moving along. What other things do we know about Croatia? It was part of the former Yugoslavia. It was a former country name, where Yugoslavia was joined with other areas, and that was the name. There was a horrible war reported to us around the state of Kosovo. I've never been anywhere near those countries, so I don't know what to tell you, but looking back, no one would think that they would give us fake news on, foreign affairs living in Canada. Well, when I put my tin hat on and look at it in the light of day, I go, that's ridiculous. When I was in, let's say, 1984. In 1984, did I think that our governments were tyrannical? No, not at all. I thought they were protecting us. And we had access to the movie and the book 1984. Around 1984, when they put it on the big screen. And it was very dark. And we never imagined that in our world that, that's what happened in our world. In our world, everything turned out way better. 1984 seemed very dark and gloomy. And so we were like, oh, well, that was a horrible movie. In those days, it was like, geez, it was a thriller, very dark. But what is it? What's the real state? Well, the real state of total government control. What kind of government? Well, just who would it be? I don't know. It was just, there was like three. Anyway, you have to watch the movie or read the book to understand how macabre it gets when you're in a totalitarian state. And then if you do realize that you're in a one of those places, then what should you do if you toppled the totalitarians and you were the new sheriff in town? It was basically one of these sovereign, I don't know if I can even say that, something about people who were like citizens of themselves. Citizens of themselves. And then they sing that Duran Duran song, Ordinary World, where, this is going to get censored. This is what, so it would be like the ordinary world. And then at the end, there was like this refrain that went, every world is my world. And it keeps going on, you keep saying it over and over. And this is the idea that in a multiverse where there's a multiple occurrences of planet Earth, multiple incidences of planet Earth. So just like in the movie Quantum Leap, for example, if you are going to Sari from this world where, where I'm walking right now, and go through some kind of a portal to another version of Earth. Stephen King also used this same idea of multiple versions of planet Earth. He uses it in the overall framework of, let's say, The Dark Tower. Many of his books, there was they have like links between the different Stephen King books. So, it's like the King multiverse. Anyway, getting back to where I was going, I still want to be more and more, not do I care if it's a totalitarian 1984 world like Alex Jones would say, or people on this channel, different personalities of mine say. The whole thing is simply, it's a big ongoing story. It's a big ongoing story, and new little nuggets of information come to us all the time. But if you look at that George Orwell book that was made into the movie 1984, and you read it to the end, you realize that he was also describing a world that was designed by the architect, the character in the Matrix movies. In other words, there's a very strong intelligence here on planet Earth that is, I don't know how to put it other than Anshar TV. Anshar TV is what we called, we described what Corey Goode, the cosmic disclosure whistleblower, he called these people that he met when either he was dreaming or he was astral projecting, or they kidnapped him by some high-tech means. Maybe they beamed him up like in Star Trek. Anyways, he was taken someplace. Sometimes he goes there with this guy named Colonel Gonzalez. It's very interesting. If you just want an audio book about some weird sci-fi thing, Corey Goode on Cosmic Disclosure. Oh, wow. It's like, you have to go with this crazy idea. Well, anyways, but he talked about the Anshar as being one group of extraterrestrials who are very interested in what's going on planet Earth. Because they say that they are humanity in a future time period. So they're living in our future, but it's not necessarily our future. I'm not sure if it's true or not, because in a multiverse there should be multiple futures as well, and there might be just in one of our futures, and we might have other people who are in others of our futures. But anyway, Corey Goode said that the Anshar watch us. These extraterrestrials watch us. What does it mean by watch us? It's not like they're watching us on YouTube. It's like they're watching us all the time. And I called this thing Anshar TV, because this is the Anshar, old man Anshar. Corey Goode said, old man Anshar might be 1,000 years old. So some super technology comes around and increases human lifespan to be, you can be 1,000 years old. That's Methuselah from the Bible. So anyway, the Anshar watch us on TV, Anshar TV. I don't know where else I wanted to go with that one. Corey Goode, Anshar TV. Oh, Big Brother. From the book and movie 1984, George Orwell. And so they've got this kind of technology to watch us. And then in the so-called fictional world of Anne Rice and the vampires, Interview with the Vampire was her first vampire book. In one of these later books that have the Lestat books from the past, I don't know, past 5 or 10 years, Anne Rice has the vampires meeting people from the lost continent of Atlantis. And she describes what Atlantis was like in her book. They go sort of through a time warp, and she goes to this time period. And she tells us that there's another extraterrestrial species that is watching us here on planet Earth. This is a bird-like species. And these bird-like species she calls the Brevena. And the Brevena watch us the same as the Anshar do. The Brevena they had more low-tech ways of watching. It would be more like with like cameras mounted on street poles down like a major street in your city, you know, so that like somebody at the police central could be monitoring these cameras to see if somebody is getting into a fight on the street and then send a car. So these kind of technologies, in other words, the kind of technologies that could be used by anybody on planet Earth today, off the shelf from, you know, like a security company. So the whole point is just these ideas that are in, you know, anybody would, these ideas that readily available to us show that these ideas are in our consciousness. So it may be that even though I'm talking to this smartphone for, you know, people on my YouTube, Infinite Bob 99, we all might be watching, you know, through other means. So I might have a lot of people that are not actually being counted on my YouTube score, because people, you know, that are like using Anshar TV, they're using such high-tech TV, it's more like magic. I've told you enough, you'll have to fill in the blanks. Bob Frizzell, our reality game movie producer, wants to remind you, if you do want an advertisement on this particular channel, we are not monetized. Bob Frizzell says, if you want to make an advertisement here for me, well, what I could do is offer to put it here on camera with me, and I could see if I could talk about it. The charge for, I don't charge, but I reserve the right not to accept the offer. If you want to give us an honorarium, probably, well, you know, to live really the lifestyle that I would like to live, I'd have to have a smartphone that I could walk around with and do more YouTubes. Because even if the Anshar and the Brevena are watching, I still want to tell you that I use YouTube. I do use it. I understand sometimes that we might feel like we're being censored by the AI too strictly. Like when I do karaoke and you film myself do karaoke and then you say it's a copyright infringement. I think that's like, this law is an ass, and this one needs to go. Because there's a lot of more creativity that I could do, my personal creativity, if I have ability to have in the background or use these famous songs that have been, brainwashed by these songs through the only entertainment mediums that were given to us. It just seems to me that we are restricting creativity because we can't have in the background someone, or in the foreground, someone singing a karaoke version of, the famous original song. Or it's playing in the background while I'm talking about something else. It's just like, it adds an element of unnatural to YouTube videos. It's unnatural that, I just, like, 2 days ago, I made a video and the music was playing in the background. And I just started making a video, and then it was at the end of the video, and then I realized, oh shit, I had the record player on. So there's music in the background, and I said, I can't use this video. It's gonna, if I put it up, they're gonna count it as a strike against me, and is it 3 strikes and you're out and you can't have a YouTube channel anymore. So it's a pain in the ass, it's unnatural, it's restricting, and people say there's no freedom of speech on YouTube. And the technical reason is they say, well, YouTube is a corporation and it's freedom of speech is a government thing. And you don't have to use YouTube you don't have to use the internet to communicate with other people. It is definitely a hostile set of rules around copyright, and it's infringing our freedoms. So I'm going to call for copyright reform on this one. Gotta go.